Well, there's new fallout to the report from the spate of sexual assault accusations against Bill Cosby. NBC dropped plans to develop a new situation comedy starring the veteran actor and comedian. This follows a week of revelations from women who claim that Cosby raped them decades ago. Arise News anchor Julian Phillips has more on this story. Julian?
Debbie, no doubt Bill Cosby is one of America's most beloved entertainers. A career spanning several decades, Cosby has been a pioneer, trailblazer, humanitarian, author, as well as activist. But what he may now be most remembered for is his alleged dark side, a string of sexual abuse allegations that have haunted him for years and have once again raised the question, is America's funny man hiding a dirty secret?
William Henry Bill Cosby got his start at the Hungry i in San Francisco. What followed is a stellar career which took off when he landed a starring role in the 1960s action show I Spy, revolutionary for its time. He later starred in his own sitcom, The Bill Cosby Show. He was one of the major performers on the children's television series The Electric Company, and he created the educational cartoon comedy series Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. He is perhaps most remembered for his blockbuster television sitcom, The Cosby Show, which aired 8 seasons from 1984 to 1992. It was the #1 show in America for 5 straight years, which now celebrates its 30th birthday. While still performing stand-up, Cosby is also credited with producing The Cosby Show spinoff, A Different World, which became second to The Cosby Show in the ratings. Among other things, he hosted Kids Say the Darndest Things for 2 seasons and was the iconic face of the Jell-O commercials. Cosby earned a doctorate of education degree from the University of Massachusetts, including numerous honorary degrees, and became an active member of the Jazz Foundation of America. Listed as one of the 100 greatest African Americans, Cosby has received numerous awards during his career, including a number of Emmys and a Grammy Award. The most notable, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Kennedy Center Honors, and the Bob Hope Humanitarian Award and the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor.
Now, without any concrete evidence, besides accusers that have uncovered decades-old allegations of sexual abuse, Netflix stepped forward and put the kibosh for now on a Bill Cosby comedy special. And NBC has reported says they are not moving forward with the Bill Cosby project. All NBC said was that they confirmed the Cosby project is no longer in development, and they had no further comment. Debbie?
All right, Julian, thank you very much. Jeremy Goldman is the CEO of Firebrand Group, which is a branding and marketing strategy consulting firm. And he's also the author of the book Going Social, and he's here in our New York studio. Jeremy, hey, it's good to see you.
Great to see you.
Well, let's first of all talk about what's at stake here for Bill Cosby in terms of this, pile-on of allegations.
Right. I mean, and the stakes couldn't really be higher in this situation because really we're looking at his entire legacy. There's actually a question of when you look at decades-old Cosby Show reruns, will people look at them in the same light? And how can he actually get ahead of this, or if it's even possible to get ahead of this at this point?
Well, considering he's had such a long, storied career spanning, at least 4, if not 5 decades, he's been considered America's TV dad. I never known what his Q score is, but in our business is the measure of a person's popularity. But I have to imagine it's off the charts. Will those things help people give him the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, it actually doesn't, believe it or not, because it's one of those key things. Yes, people have a strong perception of somebody after a while, but at the same time, they can feel betrayed. Because people, believe it or not, they really feel a sense of kinship with these personalities. And as a result, if they feel let down and betrayed, they can go sour on people very quickly.
Mm-hmm. One of his attorneys released this statement over the weekend. It says, Mr. Cosby does not intend to dignify these allegations with any comment. He'd like to thank all his fans for the outpouring of support and assure them that at age 77, he's doing his best work. There will be no further statement from Mr. Cosby or any of his representatives. He canceled a couple of television appearances. He did give an NPR interview when he was asked about these allegations. He absolutely remained silent. Is this a mistake?
It's absolutely a mistake, and I think it's unfortunate because in terms of being managed, you wouldn't really say that this is the right way to go in the year 2014. You could have maybe done that 15 years ago, but you can't have a non-answer nowadays that adds to the story. That silence on NPR, I think Washington Post called it the most important dead air in the history of radio. So the fact that that adds to the story and keeps it going is the type of thing that you really don't want. You really don't want to this to snowball if you're Cosby?
Yeah, I'm guessing, and I don't know because I don't have any inside information with his legal team. I'm guessing they're hoping that if he doesn't comment, it won't add fuel to the fire and the fire will just eventually go out. But you don't think that that's possible?
No, the problem is that now we have the internet, and now everybody's on the internet, and we're spending more time on social networks and watching clips of the comedian Hannibal Buress actually talk about Cosby and making accusations against him, which is part of what has sparked this new media firestorm. So you really have to understand the situation that you're in now, and if you don't speak, others are going to speak for you, and they're going to control your message instead of having you control it.
Yeah. Well, the truth is there have been a lot of public figures, some celebrities, some politicians that have committed transgressions and have been able to come back from them. Is this something, and again, these are allegations. We have no idea if they're true, but are these the type of allegations that perhaps he could recover from?
Yeah, so one example actually is CeeLo Green, which recently he had for those of our listeners, it's actually something interesting because what he had is he was accused of rape and sexual misconduct. He tweeted very offensive remarks about this, and then he actually dug a hole for a while. And as a result, he had a number of different concert events had been canceled. He got in a lot of trouble. He actually walked back his comments completely. He apologized, not saying that what he did was right, but he actually calmed down the firestorm. And it's actually only 2 months old as a story, and it was a huge story when it happened. Nobody's talking about it now. The key thing is that CeeLo got in front of it. He didn't have decades of allegations against him. He had essentially a little bit, which is more than you want to have. But that's one example of somebody trying to get ahead of it.
And perhaps was the apology key, because you know who I also think of, and I'm sure he and his family hates this to come up every time, but Bill Clinton. Not only were there, the infidelity that happened there at the White House during his presidency, we had many accusations against him before he was president. I'm from Arkansas. I remember him as the governor of Arkansas, and these things were not new to him. But eventually he apologized, and now nobody holds those indiscretions, were there actual indiscretions against him. If Cosby were just to come out and say, listen, whatever behavior I've done, I'm not going to be specific about it, but I'm sorry if it hurt anybody, would that be enough to wash this away?
It wouldn't be enough. It would definitely be a start. And one thing that, by the way, since these allegations have happened, as you mentioned, for quite a while, the fact that his wife has stood by him over a long period of time has actually been very beneficial to Cosby over the years. Same thing with Bill Clinton, obviously. One thing that we notice is that when the wife stands by a man in a situation like that, then the public tends to forgive and forget more readily.
Mm-hmm. Based on what you know about Cosby and how he's handled his own image and career, do you think he is likely at this point to, as you put it, to try to get ahead of it? Or I don't know, maybe the train is already gone on that.
Well, the key thing here is that you actually have somebody, as we pointed out, is 77, doesn't really have that much experience with new media. His team that's managing him doesn't have that experience, and that's actually really important because they're trying to handle this in a way that you would have handled it 2 decades ago. So I don't really think actually at this point this is something that he can really recover from. The question is, how bad is it going to be ultimately? I think that if he gets in front of it and actually admits something, and again, we don't know what's true and what isn't true, but at this point he has to admit something. He absolutely has to admit a degree of fault, and then there's a question of how much will people forgive him at that point.
Yeah, no matter how you slice it, it's a bad situation. Jeremy Goldman, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.